You never really know with a marathon racing shoe whether or not you're going to like it until you've taken it for a long run. That's why today I took the Metaspeed Edge Tokyo for an 18-mile long run.
Good morning, everybody. It's early 6:42 on a Sunday, getting ready for the long run in the Metaspeed Edge Tokyo, as promised. Get this laced up, drank my caffeine, ate a blueberry pancake. I'm fueled, I'm caffeinated, I'm a little tired still. Let's get it. It is a dark and damp morning, and it's not hot yet, but it's really wet. So I know I'm in for a lot of sweat. I took a salt pill before leaving. That's something I've been trying to be really good about. I got my gels. I'm ready to get after it. I'm still pretty tired. It's hard for me to wake up in the morning. The plan for today is 18, gonna go up to Cobb's Hill, get a couple laps around the reservoir, drink some water while I'm up there, and come back down. And I'm gonna give you a tour of the city throughout the run, so I'll catch you really shortly. I'm going through a really nice downhill stretch down Main Street towards the city that you might be able to see in the back or in the distance. And you could probably also see the sky is mad gray, angry gray, grumpy old man gray. But check the weather. It doesn't seem like it's gonna thunderstorm or like rain in any substantial way. I'm getting flicks of misty moisture on my face, which, I mean, the humidity is so high it's barely even noticeable. It's almost like a waterfall spitting at you from the distance. This area constantly seems like it's on the edge of renovation, only to never undergo renovation. Rochester is a pretty poor city. Edge Tokyo, if possible, feels like it's even grippier than the Edge Paris. Granted, my most recent run in the Edge Paris was at like almost 100 miles, or if not exceeding 100 miles on that shoe, so probably the grip wore down, and that's all I'm experiencing. But this is like adhering to the ground. It's like a sticky adherence to the ground. It's pretty cool. And you can see it's even damp. Got moisture on the ground and it's still sticky. Yeah, my leg is still not 100%, but what are we gonna do? Okay, gotta go left to get where I'm going. Sometimes you zip when you should have zorped. On our right, you will see ballpark. This is a ballpark. It's for baseball. It looks like the door is actually a little open. There's a statue. Hi, how's it going? It's the entrance to Innovative Field. And up top there, you'll see the Kodak building. Still has its evil eye on at the very top of the tower. And you can see the Kodak lettering up there as well, or at least I'm trying to get you a shot of it. Kodak made cameras, for all the Zoomers out there that don't know what Kodak is. they still make cameras, like 3 of them. And when the digital revolution in camera technology occurred, they refused to participate at the highest level and doubled down on film, costing them essentially their entire first mover advantage in the photo and video space, in the film space. And that is a major part of why Rochester met its downfall. This is something that I witnessed, as well as many of my peers growing up, was Rochester in decline. It is a place that's very much on the come up now. However, years of a depleted job market and poverty and artificially exacerbated racial disparity based on redlining and housing crises have left Rochester still much worse for wear. However, they are pouring money into downtown redevelopment and revitalization, and it's now one of the biggest healthcare cities in America, with the University of Rochester and Rochester Regional playing first and second fiddle. So there's industry here again. Now, I have my feelings about the healthcare industry, and it certainly needs help, if we're being nice. But it's a place where Rochester is growing. And one of the projects, though, for revitalization is this High Falls area. So this whole park, from down there to over here at the waterfall, which we'll get a closer look at in a second, is going to become a state park. And you could see the post-industrial landscape all around, the chugga-chuggas in the background, and this big, big waterfall. And this whole bridge used to be a rickety old thing that I'm not sure if pedestrians were allowed on it, but it wasn't as nice as this either way. And yeah, this is High Falls. So far, the shoes are doing really well. I'm not going super fast, I'm not going super slow. The humidity is a problem, as it always is. Never has 75 felt so hot as it is right now. Just like running through water. I almost hope some of these clouds break, give me a nice little shower. Over here, you'll see the Genesee Brew House, the Genesee Brewery as well. It is a beer maker. If you drink beer, you might have heard of Genesee. It's right there. That's the place. We're on East Ave by the little theater. This is like a ritzy part of town, but it blends into some, not so nice as well. But we're going to Park Ave. That's the next stop. And that's like the collegiate, post-collegiate, trendy zone for all of the not hipsters, but like the polished high school kids that went to college, got their 4-year degree, got a job, and now are living in like trendy, yuppie glory. It's a really nice little part of Rochester. It makes me feel old. And that's the thing, it's like running feels so much like life a lot of the time where I just realized that I'm past 4 miles in this run. I barely even feel like I started. And I also barely have started because it's an 18-mile run. But it's amazing how much of it is past. It's like being 30. It's like, oh, wait, I've lived a long life. Been around for a long time. Hi. But it also feels like I've barely just gotten started with my life. And it's gonna feel that way. And the run is gonna feel that way. I just wonder if when I'm 80, 90 years old, if I make it that far, if I'm gonna feel like I feel at the end of an 18, 20, maybe 26-mile run. That'd be pretty hilarious. That probably is how people in their 80s feel. Just fucking draggled and exhausted and ready for it to end. But so grateful for the opportunity to have done the thing. But as you can see, these are like somewhat ritzy townhouses, trendy, ivy covered houses. As you run, you see like more and more income. It is really crazy what a wealth disparity the city has. But even at the richest, like in any other city, these houses would be like $10 million houses probably. Out here, these are probably like $1 million, maybe not even. This like green one, for example, that's probably about $1 million, maybe a little less because it's not in great condition. But yeah, you slap that in the same neighborhood in Denver or like Phoenix or something, you're talking 5-10 million. You put it in San Diego, 15. Rochester's a phenomenal value for money. Oh, and the Strong Museum of Play. That's the colorful part is just the parking garage, and that's all new since before I moved back here. But yeah, the Strong Museum is like a children's museum where they go to like interact with objects and science things. I've been meaning to get back there, haven't done it yet. Normally, my cadence is super pace dependent, and I guess it is, even still. But I've been noticing, glancing at my watch, that I'm hitting like 5+ steps per minute faster or more than I normally am at the same pace range. I'm not running all that much faster than I normally do. In fact, I'm running the normal speed that I do. But yeah, higher cadence. I wonder if that's intentional. Okay, here we are on beautiful Park Ave. There's more trendy stuff up above or in front, and it's not going to be popping yet. It's a little too early for that. But they just paved all of this since last weekend. I was just here last weekend. Obviously, there's like some roadwork and cones going on. But one thing I've noticed since being in Rochester is they do road work so much faster than they did in Denver. They just like, I guess, do their job and pave the road, and then they're like, all right, what's next? I guess it would have to be a bit more efficient out here because the winters in Rochester, there's a lot more freezing and thawing and like precipitation generally, which will get inside the road, crack the road. Road needs repair, so you need more of an infrastructure to take care of the cracking road. Either that or Colorado just doesn't care and the workers just don't care. It's probably one of the two. So this is a really big stretch of road to pave within like a week to maybe 2 week period. Shoes are still feeling good. It's interesting. I don't think they feel as propulsive as some of the shoes that I've run in. Like the Streakfly 2 is for sure is more propulsive than this feeling underfoot. I like this blue house, blue and purple, or really blue and blue, maybe some purple, Doctor Who-ish. This one's really cool too. And on your left you'll see a really nice sub shop. They make delicious sandwiches. That's one thing that Rochester has, sandwiches. And then there's trendy Park Lee, which is, I don't even know, like purses or something. I'm trying to go left, but there's a whole thing of cars. What type of runner are you? Do you go around traffic, or do you stop and wait for it? I am certainly growing fond of the Metaspeed Edge Tokyo. It is so much like the Edge Paris in the sense that it feels reliable, feels like a shoe I don't have to think about. Some observations: the socks issue that I was sure was a socks issue totally is a socks issue, where I can feel where my toe is banged up from the other day, but I was feeling that in other shoes yesterday as well, and it's not being exacerbated today, so it's like, it's all good. No new pain, even barely any of the old pain. And I've just been steady state for a while. I'm about to start a climb. I also feel like the lacing in these is very forgiving. Like, you could just get it a little wrong, less than optimal, and can exist with it. For me, that's a big deal. I know a lot of people don't have the same issues as I do. Also, they stay tied, so once you apply a single knot, one piece of tension, they don't come untied or loosened or anything. That's also a huge deal, and it should be for everybody. I'm in a situation. This is why people wait to cross the road. The other interesting question I have for y'all is, do you stop your watches when you stop your running, pause your running? Like, if you do have to stay at a crosswalk, hold on. Major highway. So do you stop your watches at crosswalks like those? Or if you like stop for a conversation to tie your shoes? When, if ever, do you stop your watch? I personally don't. I feel like if I'm collecting the data, you might as well be collecting all the data. But I see most of the people that I run with, and most of the people I watch online, stop their watch when they stop. It's just interesting to me.
Living fast and running far, the super blast, replace your car. Metaspeed, yes indeed, we're on the edge between the ledge and speed.
I'm gonna throw in another couple of laps of pace around the reservoir. I'm not going crazy fast, but the wind feels really nice up here, and picked it up a bit, down to 8 flat for the last one. And the loop is exactly nice. I am officially sold on the Metaspeed Edge Tokyo for my upcoming race, and the reason why is all of the things that I liked about it. The ability to get a good lockdown, the propulsion, the bounce, the relative comfort, the reliability, the grip. The location I'm going to be running in is going to probably be wet and cold, and so this grip today on the damp pavement, even some of the most slippery type of pavement like painted sealed asphalt, sand, did really well. So I'm going to tell you about the course that I'm running. I'm going to see if you could guess. The course from above, an aerial satellite view of the course, looks like a drunk toddler scribbled a bunch of random lines with a crayon and was like, boppity boopity, there's your course. And the reason I think the Edge Paris, or the Edge Tokyo rather, would do really well on a course like this is that in my running amongst Rochester, like you've seen today, I am constantly taking twists and turns. I'm running too fast. And this has handled some full U-turns and sharp 90s nimbly, unlike any other full stack carbon plated racing shoe. I've run by this road before, but I've never run on it. So that means I get to add another road to the collection of roads that my feet have traveled upon. Also, typically at this point in the run, I am not doing great, but today, I wouldn't say I'm doing great, but I'm doing good. There's a big dog on the right, and he's very cute. Hi, puppy. I like your dog. Buddy, you're very cute. Yeah. I might be a bit tired and a bit fatigued right now, but I am almost 16 miles into an 18-mile run, and this is the best that I've felt running this distance ever. I feel very strong right now. I just found the sprinklers at that apartment complex, and I played in the sprinklers, sprinkled myself, tried to drink water like a buffoon. Very ineffective water gathering mechanism, but I'm entering my cold zone right now, the zone that's like 15 degrees cooler than everywhere else in the city, right after the sprinklers. So I'm basically a moving air conditioner. Feel very good. Coming up on the last mile, close to it at least. I'm feeling still really good. I got even faster than that since the last time I spoke with you. I wonder if the goo gave me goo power. Rochester is such a jungle. There's a deer right there. See how close I could get. Hi, buddy. What's up? It's okay. Hey. Come here. What's up? This is literally like 15 feet away from the steer. What's up, mister? You okay, bud? Yeah, where's your mama? Where's your mama? I bet you there's more around. Normally by the time I'm out here, they're like tucked away for the day because it gets really hot. But it's still early enough and it's a cool enough day where they probably won't go tuck themselves away until noon. They don't care at all about people. They're just deer and they're just here. I wonder if you could ride one or link it up to a sleigh even. What's up? Exactly 1 more mile. Catch you back in the studio.
Hello everyone, I'm back in the studio with the Metaspeed Edge Tokyo. I have not had a long run that nice since I was in my training block for the Ibiza Marathon. I had a 20-mile long run a few weeks before leaving for Spain, so about a month to a little over a month before the race itself. And that long run was done in the Metaspeed Edge Paris, and that was even better than the long run today. But for the temperature, for the complete overwhelming humidity, and my general state of complete fatigue, I'm very jazzed about today's long run effort. So a little bit about the run. I mean, you saw out on the road what it was like and what went down out there. I gave you all a little tour of Rochester. That climb up Cobb's Hill, it just never fails to suck. But the flying down, that's where, you know, you get to pick up your smile and feel good about your efforts. And also I got to play in some sprinklers. So it was a really nice day. I want to go through. There's not much that I actually need to say that I didn't already say. Oh no, my dogs are getting rained on. The good thing about dogs is that if you leave them outside in the rain, they're going to be okay. If you do that to children, you're going to go to jail. They were only out there for about 5 minutes. I just started recording. But yeah, they're soaked. That's pretty funny. That also indicates just how humid it was today on the run, and I beat the rain by an hour, but while I was out there, I was praying for rain, so that would have been nice. But yeah, it's coming down. It's typical for Rochester. Where I left off, I wanted to go over some things that I didn't necessarily touch on out on the run. One of which being this feels strangely flatter through the midfoot, and the rocker is great once you get up onto the forefoot and it really lets you turn over, but I'm not accessing the rocker until much faster paces in this, and this is comparing to the Edge Paris. That is not a bad thing for me. That's not necessarily a criticism. It's an observation more than anything else. I don't mind a flatter feeling shoe. I think there's a lot of shoes with nice rockers, a lot of shoes with rockers that start too early, some that start too late, some that cause you to attempt to overflex your calves, some that don't allow you to flex your calves enough. And so getting the geometry correct in a shoe is really challenging. And I don't think that this geometry is incorrect or correct. I think it's preference. It's going to come down to preference. But this it definitely felt a little flatter than the Edge Paris to me. And maybe this is something to put together for a head-to-head review. Maybe I could do a double day in both of these shoes. Thing is I don't want to overutilize this before my race, which I do want you all to guess based on the various hints that I've given over the course of the 2 videos that I put out on this. And then I'll tell you guys if you're correct. But yeah, I don't think it's a negative that it felt a little flatter, but it did feel like I was coming up on the midfoot like that, and then there was almost a gap in the transition until I was getting up to those much faster paces. those much faster paces, I didn't access for very long today. I was mostly hanging around 8-minute miles. I didn't actually look before starting filming what my total time on feet and my average pace per mile was. It's going to be a little faster than an 8:30 per mile based on where I was at around mile 16, and I finished out somewhat stronger. And yeah, it was a quick one. It wasn't a rapid one. I got a lot of good pace work in up at the top of Cobb's Hill, where I was consistently hitting under 8-minute miles. And I'm really not sure where I'm at fitness wise and what I should be building towards and what my marathon pace should be, because both of my marathons so far were a major blow up and didn't really, I don't believe, represent my effort as thoroughly as it could, where my half marathon is a 1:33 and my full marathon is a 3:53. So it's wildly out of whack. With, that's the difference for people like to calculate. The half marathon, a 1:33, is about a 7:07 pace, somewhere in that range. And the 3:53 in the marathon is somewhere around like an 8:50 or an 8:40. I can't remember offhand, but it's a massive gap in the pace. And I do believe I could close that gap substantially. And those two races were ran like 2 to 3 weeks apart. So it's the same fitness level, right? And yeah, I think that I just have had poor nutrition and over perspiration and forgetting salt pills during the marathon that cause like muscular fatigue and cramping ultimately. None of that today. Really great, really steady state series of miles from around mile 8 all the way through mile 16. And then I played in some sprinklers and chilled really hard on the last. Well, actually, I was still sub 8:30 in the last 2 miles, but it felt like I was chilling coming down from around like a sub 8-minute pace. So I'm feeling really good in where my fitness is at, and this shoe is feeling really good. It does feel like the heel is firmer. I'm not always landing on the heel, but when I'm going down hills, it feels like I'm landing on a firmer surface than the forefoot. This FF Leap is really a very interesting foam. It makes me curious about if I would be able to get along with the Ray that I don't know when that releases, and I don't know if I'm going to pick that up. It's an expensive purchase, and it might not have a purpose is why I might not pick that up. But I really like this FF Leap stuff, and I think that TPU just has a really nice feel. One thing that if people are sensitive to shoes feeling mushy and not as responsive, I don't think that this ATPU FF Leap stuff is as responsive as the FF Turbo Plus, but it takes away some of that foot fatigue that you would get in either of the Paris versions of the shoe. It's more comfortable. It's more comfortable than a firm PIBA. It feels almost like a softer PIBA, but it doesn't like bottom out like a softer PIBA does. I don't know how durable it's going to be. The bottom of this shoe is not going to last forever. It's incurring dings and damages and dents and going to get destroyed, even potentially faster than the Edge, which is weird because this is the same foam on the bottom. Maybe it's just something about how the geometry is, or maybe I've worked on my form a little bit and now I'm landing more in the midfoot than before. But this outsole, or this like exposed foam in the outsole, looks a little bit like the Edge Paris, and the Edge Paris has 100 miles on this. This only has probably around 30 now, a little over 30, which is why I do need to reserve this if I plan to use this for any race. That is, the issue with the toe, as I set out on the road, I was experiencing on Friday, pinky toe rubbing because of the plastic underlay on here. That's not an issue with the socks. That fixed it for me for the Edge Paris. That also fixed it for the Edge Tokyo. It's interesting how the upper has changed. There are substantial changes. I mean, it's the same material, but the way that the upper is constructed and retains its shape better in this. You would think that the design of the upper would have influenced the way that the toe guard impacts like the various foot shapes of individuals running in it. But no, I mean, this is functionally the same upper to me as the previous version. And honestly, this heel version, I think it's going to be, or this version of the heel, I think is going to be a little controversial for some people, because there's less foam, and I think the place that's most noticeable is along the ridge here and here. The foam there was a padding there, not foam, but like another layer of fabric there that is no longer there. But I think that what I really like about this is the way the fabric stays as one consistent piece from here all the way down and under into the underneath the insole. That really works with my heel shape, and maybe I have a weirdly shaped heel, but y'all have heard me talk about how shoes fit my right foot weird and not my left foot. This is not the case with either the Edge Tokyo or the Edge Paris. And why? Right? I don't actually know. Some shoes really give me an issue, particularly in my right foot, sometimes in both feet, as far as fit's concerned, and sometimes they don't. And this fits me like a glove. It is a really nicely fitting shoe. And I think that the upshot of that statement is if you fit the Edge Paris well, you're going to fit this well. Just full stop. The major changes to me between the two shoes, and I will do a full comparison, but the major changes is this is a softer feeling forefoot. I don't think that this is the most propulsive feeling shoe on the market, and I don't necessarily want it to be. And here's why. More propulsive feeling shoes, more bouncy, springy, explosive feeling shoes, when they're fully stacked, squidgy PIBA, can feel both unstable and slow on the uptake. And this simply feels like a normal shoe that's faster than a normal shoe. It feels incredibly light on feet. It feels familiar, like a running shoe should. And it feels like it has enough propulsion that you will be satisfied with it no matter what. But it's not aiming towards providing you an earth-shatteringly new experience. It's aiming at providing you a reliable option on race day. And like I said out on the run today, the race that I'm running has like 30 turns in it. I need something that is not going to snap my ankles. And if I had, for example, like I love the Adios Pro 3, longtime favorite of mine. That was my first marathon shoe, and I trained with it for the entire training block. You could see the imprint of the rods on the rubber on my pair if you look at it at the right angle. Like it's been a well-loved and used shoe. But the race that I'm running, I would never have chosen the Adios Pro 3 for, because it's too like side to side, wibbly wobbly, and ankle snapping, especially on turns. That is not the case for the Edge Tokyo. And honestly, that's not the case for anything else on the market that I've personally tried. Like the Hoka Rocket X3, yes, is stable in a straight line, but it feels almost taller than this, which is strange because I know that they should be the same stack. And that's not even the Rocket's heritage, but it feels taller than this. And the CLO X1 or like the Neo Zen is a shoe that I own. It's not something I would ever consider racing in, but it, I've had moments where I've stepped on a thing incorrectly, like a pothole or a branch or like a crack in the road, and then my foot rolls and like it feels like I might snap my ankle in it. And that's normally not an issue, right? If I just don't run on cracks and trip myself. But I've actually fallen down in that shoe. And there's other shoes on the market that are tall and that don't provide, that locked in feeling that allows you to whip through corners. Now, I'm not saying you should take a corner at speed in this. It's still, a full stack racing shoe. But I think that really it's the geometry. It's the 5mm drop where you do have very close to the same amount of foam in the forefoot as in the heel. And so it's not putting you at this dramatic over the top angle. And it allows your foot to feel like proprioceptively more planted, even if you're not getting any ground feel at all and you're not getting any real proprioception. You're in a more neutral plane going across the shoe, and so you're not running into this downward directional wiggliness and like a torsional wiggliness. You're more planted on the ground. So that's my assessment on why I think this is going to be the perfect racing shoe for me. It's going to be hard not to run in this, but what it does mean is I get to run in the Edge Paris more as a training shoe. And I think that for people that do already have the Edge Sky Paris and they're picking up the Edge Sky Tokyo and they want to save the newer, different, maybe slightly improved racing shoe for race day, you'll be able to run your training runs in the Edge Paris and do your race in the Edge Tokyo. It's really that similar of a shoe that I don't think that you're going to run into any... It's not going to sabotage you doing that, right? Obviously get at least one long run in this to know if there's any little foibles that the shoe might cause you, but overall, it will be pretty similar of an experience to the Edge Paris, the Edge Tokyo will be. I think that the primary difference for me is my feet in this, particularly my forefoot, does not feel as beaten up as it does coming out of the Edge Paris. The Edge Paris is a firmer foam. It's the same foam that's in the heel of this, but for me, as a forefoot striker, or maybe midfoot to forefoot striker, depending on pace, obviously sometimes a heel striker, again, depending on pace. But when I'm running a race, landing on the forefoot, it was never like a fully blown negative for me of the Edge Paris because I really love that shoe and I really love the FF Turbo Plus foam. But after the race, so it doesn't really matter, but after the race, my feet feel beaten. Right, when I wear that shoe, and even on long runs, that's the case. In this, my feet feel great right now, and my legs feel pretty good. The injury that I thought I was sustained has not flared up and did not flare up throughout the course of this run, so I'm very excited about that. It's hard to know. You're towing the line between mileage and taking care of your body. How do you know when you're maybe going to recover and it's just a little like muscular soreness or like muscular, maybe an extra tear or whatever, you strained it just a little bit, or maybe it's a full-blown muscular strain or you pulled something or what, I don't know. Like you don't know when you're experiencing that feeling. And you just have to roll the dice sometimes. And that's actually what I did this morning. I was debating and running in a more flexible shoe to put less pressure on my soleus. But I'm glad I didn't. It worked out in the end, and I think it's thanks in no small part to the Metaspeed Edge Tokyo. So that's a wrap. You're not going to be seeing a ton of this shoe. Maybe I'll do a comparison between Edge and Edge, but not Edge and Edge and Edge and Edge, just Edge and Edge in the future. But stay tuned for more content on running shoes and my journey and other cool stuff and foam. Thank you for your attention. See ya.